On the 30th of November 2023, I posted this. Many people know what they need to do, they just don't do it. Sometimes you just need to follow your own advice. And on the 29th of December 2023, I said, so you want the fastest way to make 10k per month, but you just can't seem to find it. Have you tried first impacting 10 people's lives? Never mind 10,000. If you want a generous income, you must generously provide value. And I didn't follow my own advice. I said you should follow your own advice, and I didn't even follow my own advice. Sometimes you really do just need to follow your own advice, and the reason potentially things haven't quite worked out for me the way I might have wanted them to in recent times is because I was just trying to make 10k per month because that's what I seen on the internet, and that's what someone on the internet told me I had to do. I realized I've just been doing all this wrong. And it's crazy because this morning I was just going over my vision and values and my purpose and priorities on Notion. And when I went to the sauna later on, I went for a swim in a sauna, I had this idea. And I thought to myself, why didn't I do this before? It really just excites me so much whenever I have a good idea. And sometimes it's something so simple. But in my mind, I just play this out so far and it just develops and I get so excited. So here in my Notion, I have my vision and values. And I've written out my vision of the best version of myself. But here's one thing I learned these are my 5 values: integrity, tradition, excellence, well-being, and authenticity. And I think I changed one of these. No, that was my brand values. Never mind. Either way, the 10 steps to a million, I seen this in the Millionaire Master Plan and the personalized Millionaire Master Plan. And really, there's just 10 steps to make a million, because 100k per month, obviously over this space of a year, will bring you in a million. And I realized I was just sitting in the sauna and I thought to myself, recently on YouTube, I've seen some people talking about how they played games when they were kids and teenagers, successful people. And they just said they treat life like a game, and it's all about leveling up. And it seems like those people, they're just focusing on what they're doing rather than looking at what other people are doing. And it just makes sense. And I thought to myself, well, I've never been a huge gamer, right? I've never been like the kid in my friend group that was the best gamer. I've always been more into sports and I've preferred athleticism. But I did play some games from time to time. I did like to. And something that came to my mind is I've always been into cars. So since I was little, whichever games I did play were mainly car games, like Need for Speed when I was little. And I thought to myself, more recently, there was a new Need for Speed and a Forza Horizon. And I'm not a game geek, so I'm not going to go into these games. All I'm going to say is, in Forza Horizon, it was really easy to just amass wealth and gather loads of money. And then at that point, you could just buy any car you wanted. And honestly, it was fun because you could do what you wanted. But at the same time, it just felt too easy and you could just do anything and there was nothing else to achieve, right? And I thought to myself, well, what if life is the same? And you know what? I think it is. It must be. Because it's no wonder some people who really amass great amounts of wealth in very short amounts of time, quite often they're depressed. And I honestly think that's why. And I thought to myself, well, I loved Forza Horizon because you could do what you wanted. But Need for Speed was always really fun because you actually had to complete something to unlock, for example, the next car or something. You could never just buy anything you wanted. It was much harder to amass wealth. And you actually had to work through the missions in the game to level up and unlock all the other things, right? So I thought to myself, why don't I just turn my life into a game? And this might sound stupid, but I've already got an idea. Like, whenever I get an idea, I just plan things out so far. And this is actually something I also read in Money there. Know More, Make More, Give More by Rob Moore. He said that all the people who actually changed the world, like Bill Gates and all these people, those are the people who have long-term visions. They don't just plan out their next few months or their year and say, I'm going to make 10K per month this year. They have a vision that not only exceeds to 50 years, it exceeds their lifetime and goes on to be a legacy. And I thought to myself, well, that's incredible because I just love to, whenever I plan something, plan as much as possible. And honestly, in my mind, I just have my whole life kind of mapped out how I want to do everything, what age I want to do this and that, and move to this country and have this, do that. That might be bad in some cases because then if you don't achieve this, you might have your happiness tied to this. But I just love planning. And it's funny actually because I filmed a video recently on I think it's called the Eisenhower Matrix, where you plan your time where Q1 is important and urgent, and then Q2 is important and, no, it's urgent and not important. And then you have important and not urgent, and then not urgent, not important. I hope I said that right. But either way, it's funny that I said this and I recommended people to plan their time out instead of mapping out everything ahead of time. Just have 3 things or so you want to do that day and that's all. But I actually block my whole day now, just down to each half-hour block really. And it's just loading because my Mac's been weird today. But so I just have it blocked out like this, where and I change this every week really because I plan the rest of my week out on this day. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through it. But either way, I thought, well, let's just start treating life like a game. Instead of trying to make 10K this, in the next few months or something. And I already have an idea for this. I'm just gonna film a video in, half a year or something and say, how I made 15K this month treating life like a game. And I'm just gonna take this step by step. So just gonna go and make the first 100 by taking on 5 mentees at $20, which is really nothing. Because taking a step back and instead of chasing the money and really just building a garden for the butterflies to come to, rather than chasing the butterflies with a net, I've already gotten 5 mentees that I'm working with on a free trial. And now moving forward, I've decided, well, let's before March, and I've got more or less 10 days, find 5 more people to work with and only charge $20 for a month or something. And that will be the first 100. And then after that, each month I will keep taking on 5 new people and doubling my prices until, obviously I'm not going to keep doubling it up to, the 100K, because by then there's going to be other income sources. But I'm just going to keep doubling until it's no longer reasonable, of course. Now, the thing is, you cannot just double your prices without, actually adding more value, right? Because changing your prices and increasing your prices does it can work wonders for business. And they say this in multiple books to have, because not only is the customers or clients' perceived value of your thing higher, you're going to be getting rid of the lower value customers. And because the perceived value is higher, you're just going to be getting higher value customers. And even if you, instead of taking on 10 customers, you doubled your prices and you lost 5 of them, you're still making the same amount with 5 less customers, right? And once again, obviously you can't just double your prices for no reason. You actually have to provide more value. But upping your prices does make your product or service value seem more, right? Because it's all about perceived value, and then you have to follow through on that value, right? So that's what I'm gonna do instead. I'm just gonna treat it like a game. Start from, instead of trying to make a 10K, just make $100. Then make 200, 400, 800, eventually go on 16, 32, 4200, 6400. And then keep building up until the 100K mark. And what I've done in my Notion, I really just love organizing my whole life on Notion. And here I have a table to just note down when I achieve each thing. So I'm just going to be noting it down there. And since my mentor told me or advised me to change what I was doing and take a step back from the agency, I did the exercise that is Ikigai, if anyone knows the Japanese concept, where you have 4 circles and you find your purpose in the middle. That's your Ikigai. So you have what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And all this combined is your Ikigai, because you're combining your passion, your mastery, and your sense of moral to the world, right? What the world actually needs. Because obviously if you have something you love and you're good at, but you can't be paid for it and the world doesn't need it, then it's just a hobby, right? So I've created the Ikigai and I realized my purpose is to create, provide community, spread values, inspire change, lead the way, mentor people, and that's just what I'm doing. And I've also started a newsletter, and I wrote at the end of the newsletter to the readers, and this goes to you guys as well. Obviously, I've taken a step back from the agency, and well, just how much more fulfilling can this be than offering generic lead generation services, right? And that's what I'm here to find out, and I'm glad you're here with me. And I've also done, well, I was gonna say to anyone watching this, I just recommend you take a step back. You look at what your purpose could be. Look at what your priorities are. Once you've determined this, write out your vision, how the best version of you looks like in the future. Write down 5 values, and I think I'm gonna make a separate video on values. But write out what your values are, so then you operate from a place of your values. And regarding the priorities, I've created this Notion for my mentees. But here in the priorities, I've decided I'm gonna once a month. Obviously today is the 18th, so after this I'm gonna do it once a month. But I've listed out what my priorities are from 1 to 8, and then from there you underline which number you think is accurate for the level you're at the moment. And then obviously 1 is the highest priority, 8 is the lowest, right? And then I've written goals for the top 5. Now, family is something that's very important to me. It's just not a priority right now because, well, I see them every day, I'm with them every day. So to actually be able to provide for them and provide, more for them, I need money. But I'm not delusional, so I didn't put money above mission above everything always, and even love. A man must have his purpose before his relationship. It's true. And the reason I've put 6 for mission is just because I just work every day and I stay consistent. and I'm always just on this path, on this journey, on this mission, right? I think I'm gonna change this here slightly. I'm gonna change some of this. But yeah, like I said, just how much more fulfilling can this be? I really am glad you're here with me, and I wish you all the best. I hope you take action and you find what your purpose is. Goodbye.